Would a great innovator give up so easily on that promised future?
I won't. I'll find a way to save us all.
Well, morning everyone, End of Dragons Daily 98. Today, we got to talk about this legendary weapon thing. So, there were a lot of announcements that came with the introduction of End of Dragons, the first sneak peek. And, well, one of them was details on how they're doing legendaries going forwards. They had said to us a few months ago that there was going to be a Generation 3 of legendary weapons, which was brilliant news. Nobody took that badly. I especially took heart from it because it started to kill this idea they were moving on to Guild Wars 3. Like, they're doing a whole new generation of legendary weapons. They're going with this game, this product. There's going to be lots of exciting stuff for us to go for, especially with the legendary armory just coming out, making legendary weapons and all other legendary items seem even more exciting, even for lorehounds who would, get a lot of new lore from all this third generation set. This seemed like such a good move to be making, and then it seemed likely we were getting those details of those legendaries here on this stream. How exciting. But they kind of pulled a switcheroo on us, because it's not really a whole new set of legendary weapons like we got with Core. It's not even like we got with Heart of Thorns, where they released 3 at once, and they did all the precursor crafting at Core, and then they obviously did pretty good actual collections for the legendaries themselves, the 3 that Heart of Thorns itself released. It's not even that. It's one idea for a legendary weapon, one theme, one aesthetic, one type of footstep, one type of draw animation, one type of up the arm effect. And then it gets applied to all 16 available weapons in the game. Essentially, what they've done is they've realized they can make Black Lion sets really efficiently, where they create just that one theme, and then they just mold it into a bunch of different shapes. They've taken that efficiency on their end and applied it to the legendary weapon crafting system. So this is really kind of a big gamble for the studio. What they're losing is a ton of the variety and opportunity to appeal to lots of different players. But what they're gaining is the chance that you're super into fashion, and now you might make both main and offhand and a two-handed weapon, and maybe even you'll go for the whole set because you just love Aurene and what these weapons look like just that much. So it's a dicey one. Now, as the announcement was presented, I do think we'd be losing a lot with the game here. I mean, think about just the legendary lore update they just did that doesn't even get to do anything because it's just all Aurene weapons. Let's run into some community comment here to get a sense of the room. Del Rey says, Aurene legendary set is mega boring. I mean, okay, I can probably wear one because my main is a white golden theme, but it sucks for others who want something darker. They could have sold this as the next Black Lion set, and no one would have noticed. A lot of comparisons to Black Lion are being made in my comments here. Tanner Krauker says, the Gen 3 legendary weapon situation doesn't sit well with me. I know they're doing it to make it easy on themselves, but I wonder if it wouldn't deprive us of a lot of the questing and lore unique to each legendary. It makes it a lot harder to want any one weapon from the set. Also, I don't find myself as invested in Aurene as they want me to be. I don't feel this kind of connection to her that the commander is supposed to have. Making a legendary weapon set about her that her champion is supposed to wield makes her feel even more distant, like she's just another thing we can collect and another title to earn when we have them all. I could get on board with them doing something Elder Dragon-y with the legendary weapons if they wanted to wrap up the Elder Dragon story. Aurene gets Artificer, Deep Sea Dragon gets the Huntsman, the other dragons share the Weaponsmith ones, or mix and match however they feels best. But 16 Aurene weapons is just too much of the same flavor to be legendary, in my opinion. Here we have Meeflak, who says, I'm hyped for the expansion, don't get me wrong, but I do find it concerning they didn't have the oversight to see how poorly the Generation 3 Legendary set would be received. I think this is a really interesting point as well, because yeah, it does seem quite obvious that you'd have to handle a reveal like this quite delicately. Maybe they just think people really love Aurene and it wouldn't matter that much. Fyron says, the new legendaries are great. if you're into the female pretty princess infusion fashion meta. For everyone else, it kind of sucks. I want more weapons to fit my steampunk industrial looks, so this whole generation of legendaries will be totally pointless for me. The cool thing with Gen 1 and Gen 2 legendaries was that each one could fit into vastly different aesthetics from the rest. So this is just an example of some of the takes that I think many of us had as we came away from it. But I do think there's a valid answer to all of this. And I think this is more of a communication problem than anything else. This comment from Flyro can lead us into that quite nicely about the Legendary Gen 3. What I think not many people paid attention to. On the website, it says, Legendary Weapons. Up your arsenal with new spectacular sets of 3rd generation Legendary Weapons and Precursor. Sets, as in plurals. I think we'll get more Legendary sets as the expansion will go along. So I kind of had, if you guys watched my live coverage of the show, you will have seen me speculating a little bit about this. I kind of had a hunch that maybe this was something they were doing, but it does seem to be confirmed on the website. Now, this is a very different world. Well, the situation I think we're in, guys, is essentially the same situation we had been in through Living World Season 3 and Living World Season 4, where what the studio can do is make a legendary per major release. And they'll slowly filter them out. And if you remember through Season 3 and Season 4, as we were getting those Heart of Thorns legendaries, they were actually really, really fun, substantive feeling patches because they could throw on a trailer, Shushadu is coming, or Exordium is coming. You know, people were waiting for that great sword for so long and then finally arrived and add that unique extra thing to it where its animations would change based on who's building it. They added a lot to the patches. Guild Wars 2 was in a very healthy place, I think economically, objective, goals-wise, when they were slowly filtering legendaries out. You know, one of the big things that the Icebrood Saga didn't do? It didn't slowly filter legendaries out. So on that stream, where it seemed like we were getting the whole batch in one, I kind of felt a bit weird about it because it was a big, cool moment for End of Dragons, but then the true power, I think, was what we experienced in Season 3 and 4, where they were filtering them out. So, in my preferred world, that's what ArenaNet does, and I actually think we're still in that exact same place. They've just realized a corner they can cut, an extra little bit of efficiency that they can undergo, which actually pumps the system up even better. And that is that if they're gonna go to the, let's take a random legendary, let's take the HMS Divinity. If they're gonna go to all the effort of building this like theme and idea for the HMS Divinity, what its projectiles look like, what its unsheath is, and so on, then why restrict that just to people who like rifle? What if I really want that on a pistol? What if I really want to see how that feels on some kind of bladed weapon? And they have proven for years now that they can take a theme and apply it to the full 16. They've been doing it with the Black Lion sets. Black Lion sets kind of tap into this fear of missing out thing, which I think drives a lot of the sales there, but people go crazy for them. Patch in, patch out. People even often compare them when they get extra flashy to legendaries, except obviously they're not legendaries. They don't have all the quality of life that the devs just updated into the game as legendaries do, and they don't have, you know, the bigger economical and adventuring based acquisition processes. So let's put yourself in the room and you're figuring out what you want to do with End of Dragons. You've decided legendary weapons are coming back and you're all big fans of Aurene, so you're going to do an Aurene weapon, and you have that awkward moment of deciding, okay, is it going to be a great sword because everyone loves great sword, or is it going to be a shield because we think it looks slightly better on shield, or oh, I've actually got an interesting idea for the focus. You're looking at the Black Lion weapon team. You could just say, well, we will have this weapon, the Aurene weapon, the first one, to just be a whole set. And then the second one that we're going to make will be a whole set again, and the third, and the third. What I think happened here is the devs needed to communicate on the stream that it was the first of many, that there were sets, plural. What basically that means is we don't get the full dump of 16 unique ones with End of Dragons, which would have been nice, but I mean, we only really had that at core. Heart of Thorns didn't manage to do it. Path of Fire didn't do anything at all. And it does suck. I kind of was looking forward to seeing how the expansion would feel with all the items correctly filtered out for legendaries. Like, POF acquisition was really messy by comparison, I feel. But with good enough forward thinking, they can fix things up in that department too. Now, on the day, I was kind of thinking, well, okay, so maybe they did. This is obvious. It's like a commenter I just highlighted on screen. Said, oh, I can't believe they didn't anticipate that there'd be a bit of a backlash here. Well, I would have thought it's obvious that people would be upset with that, so you'd confirm that there's going to be multiple sets. They must have knowingly not done that because there aren't going to be, because they can't commit to that number of weapons, because they want to see what the metrics are and how many people make the Aurene stuff first, which is obviously not the world we want to live in. I don't want to live in a world where it's just 16 Aurene weapons and then we have to wait 2 or 3 years for another X-Pack, and if they didn't say, surely it's not coming? But then finally, we get to the official website, which has a ton of brilliant information, even more than the stream had in some places, and they are happy to confirm there's multiple sets. So I want to see the devs get on this real quick and explain that, you know, it's basically the standard style, it's just expanded. So there are some downsides to that. I think if you really, really like the idea of a legendary weapon being a specific artifact, something tangible in the world, something they kind of lent into with the lore exposition stuff that they just added, then it's kind of ruined. You know, you can't do 16 Claw of the Carneurs, except in one situation it was a hammer. I mean, the lore of the Claw of the Carneur is actually that kind of is reforged continually, so you kind of could do it there. But, you know, it doesn't feel quite so good if there's a bunch. But to me, that's, on my ranking of importance, that's a pretty petty thing. I think the gains they get, actually, for expanding a legendary weapon, probably at a very efficient speed, into a whole set is pretty good. Because, yeah, I can imagine if the Binding of Ipos, for example, one of my favorite legendaries, had a Scepter equivalent, and if, say, there was a shield version of the Greatsword Eternity, you can bet your ass I would deck myself out in those, and I'd be going for even more legendaries than I currently do today. Like, imagine the prestige of running around in full Eternity gear. Not just a greatsword, but the sword and the shield and everything. It's all maxed out. And let me really blow your mind, they can be creative with the sets. Think of Zequatl, right? The scepter that you unsheath, you get like a little familiar ally. Now, if that's a whole set, what if the little creature that's with you changed based on which weapon you went for? You think I wouldn't love now getting a focus so I can get like a little fox thing to be friends with the thing that came out of my scepter and then maybe go for other combos with main hand and offhand? It would be incredible. Maybe the two-handed creatures are bigger. There is creativity available there. And they haven't confirmed this, guys, but think about this. Think about the idea that we do go back to that Season 3, Season 4 concept where legendaries are coming with patches. Now, you're watching the trailer for that Living World release. They are at the section where they announce what the legendary is, and what you're looking at is the theme. There's no other barriers. It's not like, oh, I don't wield Scepter, or I don't like Scepter on my profession, or I haven't got this elite specialization, so I don't care very much, or I'm not into this balance. No, no, no. You like that theme. You're going to probably go for that legendary on that Living World patch, and they'll get a lot more player attention, a lot more time out of people actually investing in the game. So I actually view the Living World season after End of Dragons, as long as this all lines up, to be a really beautiful thing. Another great benefit on the studio's end is now, if they're committing to a third wave of legendary weapons, they don't have to, like, arbitrarily do it 16 times. They're not in this situation where they might not have any inspiration for a pistol, but they feel obligated to do a pistol because, you know, that hasn't been in the set yet. They don't have to do that. They only need to make legendary themes that they really love, and maybe that's only as many as 8. Not the quite heavy number of 16. I mean, look at how many years it took them to get all that done from the Heart of Thorns era. It took them ages. They're not going to have that problem anymore because that expectation isn't there anymore. They also sidestep the issue of disappointing people who only wanted a pistol, but have to wait like 7 legendaries down the line. No, 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 you're going to get a pistol straight away, and then you're going to get a pistol the next time too, and the next time after that. There's actually more freedom on the consumer end. So yeah, I kind of think this is a miscommunication thing. I'm kind of digging very, very deeply into one letter here. I mean, we have to hope that that S on sets on the official website is 100% like valid. But assuming it is, I think it's a pretty good move. I think it's very much in line as well with what they just did with the armory. You know, they've just telegraphed to us that they really care about legendaries. They want to bump that infrastructure up. They know that people going for legendaries play the game a lot more and will stick around for a lot longer. So they're not going to be stupid about how they deal with legendaries going through End of Dragons. At least that's kind of my feel on this, and I guess hopefully the devs just put a little Reddit comment or something out there somewhere, and we'll see what they have to say, especially in this new era of communication, right, guys? So there you have it. That's my take on the legendary weapon stuff. This is a short part of End of Dragons Daily, but keep an eye out. I'm going to do a lot of videos. There's a lot of different topics for us to cover, and I feel pretty settled on this one. So let me know if you still think there's some wriggles or some weird stuff that you don't like here. I think it's nothing but gains, generally, with a minor little side side effect that the kind of legendaries we go for will feel weird. But I want to say as well, though, to be fair, I never really liked the Claw of the Kana actually becoming something we could wield, or the Shining Blade becoming something that we could wield. I know they kind of revealed that it's a physical thing in the same patch that we could actually wield it. But it feels like those like lore objects, those lore artifacts are too big to me. And I would rather legendaries be sort of on the side of it, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Also, guys, do you think this means much for new legendary armor trinkets? Imagine if this stream had revealed Obsidian armor, or like Eternity armor, or something. It would have been pretty good. I would have thought that if End of Dragons was going to do like legendary infusions, we would have seen that announcement too, but they didn't go for that. So there you have it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. On the next part, let's talk about fishing. I want comments on what you think about fishing being like a headline, dare I say, headline feature for End of Dragons. There's a lot to dive in there. I want your takes. I'll be putting them on screen on the very next part, and we will run through what we think of the situation. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, you can check out more details from End of Dragons and even pick it up. I've got a link in the description. Please, if you've got friends, family members who are only slightly into the game and you think it might be good X-Pac, please do feel free to share that link around, as it supports the channel. So thank you, guys. It's a huge opportunity for me to be able to push that out once every 4 years since POF. Don't forget, there's a 5-hour show that I did on the announcement. That's on the YouTube channel now, and I did a video about all the elite spec icons with boots right here on End of Dragons Daily just 2 days ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you for the next one very soon. Ta-ta.